Welcome to Buckets. My name is Matt Moore. I'm the senior NBA writer for the Action Network. This is your daily NBA Best Bets episode brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Glad to have you with us. I'm Matt Moore, senior NBA writer for the Action Network, joined by AC Analytics capper Albert Wynn. AC, how you doing on a Monday night?
I lost it, man. I was on the Eagles. I laid the points there, and Washington looked strong. Honestly, the Eagles' defense looked really rough.
Yeah, weird outlier game for the Eagles, who obviously have had. The Eagles have given up some points here and there. I guess it's not all that surprising. But we'll try and get you back on track with some NBA bets. Also joining me, Jay Money. You can find him on Twitter. Jay Money is money. Jay, how you doing, man? You're in the process of moving.
Yeah, I'm doing great, man. I couldn't wait to get to the new spot. We're here now, so now it's time to get some cash.
All right. As we always do, we're going to list our best bets for the episode. Then we'll go back and do the cap on them. Let's start with Jay. Jay, what are your best bets for Tuesday?
If I had one single best bet, that's going to be Pelicans full game, but I'm also on the Knicks first half as well. So two for me, but the best is definitely Pelicans.
Okay. AC, what do you got for me?
Yeah, I'm going to ride New Orleans. They're back home. Pelicans money line is minus 115 against the Grizzlies. Desmond Bane is questionable for tomorrow.
Okay. All right. I like it. I thought about that one. I am on Mavericks -7. And I am with Jay. Only I'm taking the full game. Nets +2 and Nets on the money line. Those are my two best bets for sides on Tuesday. All right. Let's start with Jay. So let's start with your cap on the Pels, and then we'll go to AC and we'll wrap it up. So why do you like this spot? Why do you like the angle? What do you like about this game for the Pelicans facing the Grizzlies?
Yeah, I actually love the Pelicans here quite a bit. This is their third straight home game. They've lost the last three games versus the Grizzlies as well. This you could argue this is the best Pelicans team that the Grizzlies have seen in years past, and the Grizzlies are dropping off a little bit as well. I know that Bane is doubtful in this game. They might get Triple J back, which I actually think that's going to be good for the Pelicans. You want to fade a team when they get one of their star players back. Obviously, it'll be pretty rusty as well, but Pelicans with three-time revenge, they've lost the last three versus Memphis in blowout fashion. And just on the line functionality as well, past couple games were -7.5 and -8 for the Grizzlies. Now you got the Pelicans open up here as the favorite. The line is all over them. I actually like the Pelicans to get a big win in here, win by double digits. I'm all over the Pelicans tomorrow, guys.
Thought this was interesting. The Pels open -1 in this game, and then it's early when we record this, but the tickets and money are both coming in on Memphis, and we got a reverse line move for Pelicans -2. It's moved a full point towards the Pels. AC, what do you like about the matchup?
Yeah, I said earlier I like the money line. I like the points as well. I think it's a great spot for the Pelicans at home. We talked about on a previous pod, Matt, but I think the most important player for the Grizzlies is not Ja Morant, is Desmond Bane. I think his versatility on defense and his ability to stretch the floor is really important for that team because they're an up and down team and they need someone that can shoot threes, and that's Desmond Bane. So I do like the Pelicans. They only made 8 threes in their previous game. This is something that Jay taught me. They also have a rest advantage tomorrow. I think it's only their third game in 6 nights, whereas the Memphis Grizzlies have 1 day less rest. So I think the fresher team, the more healthy team is going to be the Pelicans tomorrow night.
So we could debate kind of like what the home court advantage should be for both of these teams. I've kind of settled on flipping 4.5 on standard. I think you can, and there's a couple of teams I think that you have to exaggerate a little bit more by a couple of points, honestly, based off of how good their home court is. Memphis is maybe one of those that you can consider that. But if we do the 4.5, this only comes out to this basically makes it close to a pick 'em on neutral. Grizz -2, 2.5 in Memphis. And that's not going to sound right based off of where these teams have been at in win totals. It's not going to sound right based off of where these two teams have been at in terms of the hype around them, or even based off of record. I don't mind this though, because honestly, I continue to believe that the Grizzlies are a little bit of a paper tiger. I think that they're not as good as a record versus I'm doing a video series for Wednesday. You can catch on Green Dot Daily and on the NBA bet stream, because we're doing Pelicans Bulls that night. And I've been doing a lot of deep dives on the Pelicans. they're good. Like this team is much better than their record kind of indicates. And so I think there's a good chance that they're able to come out on top here. Like if we just cap it as I think the Pelicans are the better team, which I kind of lean towards. I think that there's probably a reason to go ahead and get there. I'm staying away. My regular season non-adjusted number here is a pick 'em. Even with home court kind of factored in, because the Pels don't get much of a home court based off of my projections. And then if I do it on the adjusted power rating based off of preseason and then kind of manually adjusted throughout the season, I've got Pelicans minus 1.8 here on a number of factors. It's not enough to get me to take a side. I guess my only concern is Memphis tends to show up for these big time spots. And I want Memphis whenever they're a big favorite so I can fade them in those kind of situations. I'm a little bit worried just about the Pelicans and how often they can get in their way. Like I think like 2 months from now, I'm going to want the Pelicans in this spot. I'm a little worried that maybe they're not there yet, but I understand why both of you are on it. Jay, let's go to your other pick and let's talk about Nets first half. So I love the Nets here and I'll talk about why in a second, but I want to know what you like about the first half for the Nets here.
Yeah, so the Nets, they've been coming out hot. Now, I kind of throw out the last game versus the Lakers. There is a little funky game on Sunday. It was a back-to-back. You look at before that, they were 6-1 against the spread in their last 7 first half. So they've been coming out hot. Obviously, without Kyrie, they've really found a groove. I do think that Simmons, he's questionable here. I think he'll probably suit up after sitting out the last game. Claxton is probable here, so they got they have an array of guys here, and I think that they can match up well versus the Kings here. Man, I like the full game here as well. My only thing was I didn't want them to kind of run out of gas on the East Coast, but I definitely think they win this game. This should be a first half. This could be a trifecta spot for the Nets, but I really like them first half as the main play, and I'll probably end up betting a full game as well. I think they get this win, then probably run out of gas in Portland over there in their last game of the road trip. So Nets first half, basically before the last game, they were 6-1 against the spread last 7 first half.
Yeah, I talk about this a lot where you can bet the number, the spot, or the team. I think the spot is not great for the Nets because they've been on the West Coast for a duration on this road trip. I think this team matchup's a little difficult. I'm going to be on Sabonis props because we're seeing big men that can do multiple things. They tear up this Nets defense. Like that's their weak point, is they have real trouble with these dynamic bigs. You saw it with Anthony Davis. Like that's been their weak point. Their winning stretch, they were playing teams that specifically don't have those types of players. Sabonis should absolutely rip them to pieces. However, the last factor is the number. And to me, there's just too much value here. I've got this Nets -2 in sack. Like that's just where my numbers come out to. Based off of adjusted power rating, I've moved the Kings up at 6-6. I've adjusted a lot for the Nets. A lot of as my numbers all kind of indicate the Nets are undervalued right now. I tore them to pieces in the early season. They were a joke. They were laughable. Whether certain people aren't playing currently, and it kind of seems like without certain people, they might be able to play a more serious brand of basketball, like a professional basketball team, when certain people aren't available. So I love the Nets in this spot. I think they win this game outright. I'm willing to go ahead and back it. So I'm going to go ahead and put the full unit play on the +2. I'll grab the points. I'll do a half unit on the money line. I'll go ahead and go that far on it. I feel like they're the right side here, and it not being the last game of the road trip is probably promising. I'll look at maybe to fade them when they get back. That's always a good spot to fade teams. So it's based pretty much solely on the number, but I can't get there. And if you say like, well, the Kings just beat the Warriors. Do you think the Warriors right now are better or worse than the Nets? I kind of got to tell you, I think the Nets are better than the Warriors right now, especially on the road. Like, I don't know what to do. Like the Warriors kind of been telling us who they are. Get another a big comfortable win versus the Spurs at home tonight, but that doesn't fix any of their problems. So go ahead.
My 2 cents on this game. Not only is it a good spot for the Nets coming off that loss against LA, but it's a good spot to fade the Kings, right? They're coming off 3 straight wins. They've shot 51, 51, and 52% in their last 3 games. You expect them to kind of regress back to the norm. And they've made 17, 12, and 16 threes in their last 3 games. So you expect a little regression there as well. So I like the spot here for the Nets. I'm most likely going to tell you guys, good spot.
Let's talk about the spot. Let's talk about Jazz Knicks. So Jazz are in that first game back from an East Coast road trip after the loss to the Sixers on Sunday, and this is a 3-4. Facing the New York Knicks, they're coming off of a rest spot, so the Knicks are the more healthy team. I see Jay shaking his head. The number to me says, like, yeah, I should be all over the Jazz. I'm not going to bet it because of that spot, but like the Jazz have been quantifiably better than the Knicks this season. Is the spot more important than the team differential here, Jay?
Man, it's tough for me to back the Jazz here. You mentioned it earlier. It's a horrible spot from 3rd and 4, and they're coming from the East Coast back home to basically the West Coast here. It's a horrible spot for them. Obviously, the way that they've been playing, you look at the two teams and you say the Knicks haven't been playing any defense. I'm sorry, I can't bet this game because I want to take Jazz, but they're in a horrible spot. I can't bet the Knicks here, though, just because they've been playing so lackluster. I mean, they can do it offensively. The defense, what I'm seeing, it's just I'm not sure what's going on with Tibbs over there because he's a defensive coach. I'm not sure what's going on with the Knicks. They may be pretty close to getting Tibbs out of there if things don't change pretty soon, especially with them bringing Brunson over there, right? They're supposed to take the next level. They look like the same old Knicks to me, so I'm staying far away from this team right now. The Jazz do match up well against them, but it's just not a great spot for the Jazz.
All right, finally, I've got the Mavericks -7 tomorrow night. I this is a number play. I've got this 12.4. Based off of regular season numbers, which makes a lot of sense because the Clippers have been terrible and the numbers haven't really caught up to them yet in terms of how they've recently played. Even on manually adjusted power rating, I've got this Mavs -6. That's before the Kawhi. Kawhi's clearly worth 2.5 to 3 points to the spread. That gets me under the number. Mavericks are on 2 days rest. Clippers are on a 3-4 back-to-back here. Like it's mostly, honestly, I'm grabbing this number because I just feel like this is a spot where the Mavs smash them. The Clippers rest a bunch of dudes, and this number is I feel like I'm going to get great CLV on this. AC, is there any reason you can think of why I shouldn't be back in the Mavs here?
No, I think this is a good spot. Jay knows this living in Dallas. This is a pretty big rivalry, and there's an individual rivalry. If you want to look at some props here, Luka loves to play against Terrence Mann. Like, he loves that matchup so much. So look into maybe points, maybe rebounds there because he likes to just bully him down low. So Luka does that. The only thing with Dallas is it's hard for them to cover the late second half, especially when they're favored by more than 5 to 6 points. But I think 7 points is a little safe. I think you're right. The Clippers offense has been terrible all season long, and they're playing against a pretty solid elite defense in the Dallas Mavericks. It's also a great bounce back spot for Luka individually, coming off that East Coast road trip where he didn't play very well. So he's back home, friendly confines. I hope they get the win. I'll be there on Friday night cheering on Luka. So let's go Mavericks.
Jay, you got any thoughts on your now former hometown team?
Yeah, I still love the Mavericks though, but you don't bet against home favorites with the rest advantage, especially with 2 days rest advantage. I wouldn't be betting against the Mavs in this, so it's not a game that I bet. Clippers have shown to play a little bit better of late, but you don't bet against the home favorites with the rest advantage. That's one thing I've definitely learned over the years. I take a couple of spots and lose them. Like, what's going on? Yeah, they had a lot more rest to it, so they could exert a lot more energy to the game. Clippers could really run out of gas in this one in the fourth quarter.
All right, it's going to wrap it up for our best bets for Tuesday. Thanks for joining us. Make sure to follow along in the Action Network app. Best way for you to track your picks, get up with the second information where the bets and money are coming in on. Make sure to leave us a 5-star review or give us that subscribe and follow on Spotify. You can also check out the podcast on YouTube or in the Action Network app. We've got all the podcasts in there as well as Green Dot Daily. You can follow Albert on Twitter at Analytics Capper and check out his picks in the app, as well as J Money. He's on Twitter at JMoneyIsMoney. I'm HP Basketball on Twitter. Thanks for joining us. Our thanks to David for producing this episode. We'll see you guys again next time with another edition. Let's get buckets.